Thank you, Honor. That was my only matter.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. Have a good day. Have
You
a good
too.
weekend.
Next, if we can address Mr. Johnson, again, that's the 929 calendar. This is actually on for sentencing, cause number 3A039287. This was continued from last week. My understanding is the city did submit a victim impact statement indicating that the alleged victim is aware of the situation today. It's not requiring to be present. So I do believe we are prepared to move forward with sentencing.
Thank you. And I did have an opportunity to read the victim impact statement before court. I do have, make sure that I have this as well. Give me just a moment to get the right document up. Mr. Johnson, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, and I do have the city's recommendation is set forth in the statement of defendant on plea of guilty. Does the city have anything to add to that recommendation?
Nothing further to add, Your Honor. This is a agreed recommendation. And for the record, if I didn't put in my email, the victim had to work today and could not be present, but she would like the Your Honor to read the statement before sentencing.
And I did, so thank you. Ms. Pimentel.
Your Honor, we're still asking the court to follow the agreed recommendation that was recommended last week. Obviously, Mr. Johnson's been in custody, and so he has no current ability to pay any additional fines or costs. I'd ask the court to consider waiving any of that.
All right. Mr. Johnson, this is your opportunity to tell me anything that you would like me to take into consideration before I pass sentence.
I just want to apologize, Your Honor.
All right. I appreciate that. Mr. Johnson, when I was preparing for the sentencing today, I was looking at some of the history that I see. And I guess part of what comes to mind is how often have you said that you want to apologize? Do you want to talk about that?
I'm just truly trying to change my life around now. This was a real wake up call for me. I want to get out and get into treatment and really change my life around. For my family, for myself, for everybody.
Unfortunately, Mr. Johnson, I think the impression I have is that you've said that before and that's what you think I want to hear.
It's not what you would think you want to hear. It's what I want to do. I want to go to treatment when I get out.
Okay. And I appreciate that. I was looking at most recently in Kitsap District Court. Judge over there gave you 60 days on those charges. I also see the Port Orchard Municipal Court case. And I think most concerning to me is that on 4 days before this incident, you were released from custody out of Everett District Court on almost the exact same charges. My concern, and it is a deep concern, is that what the victim in this case indicated in her statement, that she believed that if her dog had not been aggressive with you, that things would have been worse. That there may have been worse things that happened.
Not the case.
And my concern is, regardless of whether those would have happened or not, the implication was there in the fact that you were in her bed, in her apartment, standing there naked, and when she told you to leave, your response was essentially, try to make me.
No, it was not.
And that's when her dog was allowed to be aggressive with
That was
you.
not, that's not the case at all. I said, this is the wrong apartment.
Given the totality of the circumstances and the fact that this appears to be an ongoing issue for you from longstanding, my concern for the safety of the community, I believe that the recommendation here is substantially under or less than what I think would be appropriate. So I'm going to impose 364 days in jail. I will suspend I will suspend 250 of those, leaving you with 114 days to serve. I will give you credit for time served.
I would have took this to trial if that was the case. Then I didn't. I mean, this is cruel and unusual punishment.
Mr. Johnson, you will have the opportunity to appeal my sentence if you believe that's appropriate, but when we went over the plea paperwork, I specifically indicated to you and you agreed that I did not have to follow the recommendation. So with regard to the fine, $5,000 fine, I will suspend the entirety of the fine, finding it this time that you are indigent as to count what is represented as count 3.
This is
I will
ridiculous.
impose
Man.
90 days in jail. I will suspend the entirety of the 90 days, $1,000 fine, and I will suspend the entirety of that fine. I will waive any non-mandatory costs, fees, and assessments. You will be on probation for 24 months. Conditions of probation will be no new criminal law violations for which there's probable cause. Keep your address up to date with the court and make it to any future court hearings. You will obtain a mental health evaluation and alcohol drug evaluation within 45 days of being released from custody and show compliance with that treatment within 60 days of that. You will have no contact with the victim in this case, Emily Azam, or with the 104 apartments in Bothell. And I want to be clear, mental health evaluation and an alcohol drug evaluation. If you are able to connect with that while in custody, I would take that into consideration. But at this point, that's my sentence. You do have a right to appeal. I'm sorry, you've been muted because you were interrupting me. You can unmute him. So, Mr. Johnson, I have looked at your history and it does not appear that this was a wake-up call. It does not appear, it appears that you've had many wake-up calls before, and it also does not appear.
You're giving me that much time for this?
Yes, I am.
That's ridiculous, man. I would have just took it to trial and got less time.
Your Honor,
Yes,
since I don't know what the calculation will be for release, can you have him contact probation within 48 hours of release?
yes. So you will contact your probation officer at the Bothell Municipal Court within 48 hours of release of
So how
confinement.
much time do I have to do now?
That will be up to the jail to calculate.
How much time are you giving me?
I gave you 114 days.
It's so ridiculous, man. Fuck.